Favor and she's blessed indeed. She keeps her head and her heels high, and her living soars beyond the sky. Hey, it is the Diva with the Destiny, and we are on Table Talk with the Diva. We are so excited and delighted and always ignited to share positivity on this platform. So I'm so happy to be here. I need you to pull up a chair, invite a girlfriend, a sister, that woman of influence that you care about and want to see her grow. I need you to get her on. Tell her to put up a chair at the table because we have the amazing Kathy Miller, and she is the expert, a mompreneur, a woman of influence, a woman of power. So we are so excited to have you on board. Kathy, how are you today?
I'm doing great today, and thank you so much for asking and inviting me on the show today.
So excited, so excited. Let me tell you guys, I'm going to let you in on just a little bit of secret. No, this is not the person you saw on the flyer, but God always provides a ram in the bush. So he gives, he provides, he will give a provision for the vision. So I'm grateful today that Kathy gave God her yes, first of all, and then she gave Piera, the diva, her yes to be on the platform. So we are honored. We are grateful for you this evening. So grateful, so grateful. So we are going to move along here. And Kathy, in case you don't know, we always do an icebreaker. And I know you're a woman of many words. A woman of many words. So on that, with that being said, yes, ma'am. I'm going to give you three different words. So I'm going to give you a word, and you give me whatever the first thing that comes to your mind. It doesn't matter what it is. I may say hot, you say dog. I say Kool-Aid, you guys say sugar. Whatever
Gotcha.
it is, whatever comes up, we want it to come out. So we are so excited. So icebreaker, here we go. Are you ready, Kathy?
I'm ready.
All right. She's ready. So y'all better fasten your seatbelts, honey. Right. Okay. First word will be um purpose.
Destiny.
Come on with it, honey. All right. Purpose. And we say destiny. You already know. Second word. Let me give you one. Kathy.
Kitten.
Kitten. Kathy and kitten. All right. I'm with it. I'm with it. Last but not least, um, eternal.
Heaven.
Come on, woman of excellence. I love it. All right, so we got that. We have that. My word was purpose. Your word was destiny. And my second word was Kathy. And your word was kitten. I love it. And last but not least, what's my third word? Eternal.
Eternal.
Thank you. My baby's in the background, y'all. Thanks, baby. Eternal. And you said heaven. Thank you, God. So we're so excited that we God, and we know as long as we continue to do what God has called us to do, we will have eternal life. So I love that. Eternal is a very important word. Should be in all of our lives. Help
Yes.
us stay focused and on what we should be doing so that we can live again. We're living to live again. So I'm excited about it. But on today, guys, we are not guys, but ladies. That's just a habit. So forgive me, not guys, but queens on today that is watching the platform. Kathy, did you share with your viewers that you're going to be on Table Talk? Because I know we just kind of put this together a few hours ago. Did you
I
have any?
did not have a chance. I've been on fast forward.
Yes, I understand completely. But we bless God for our coach who makes so many things happening. He's always
Yes, he does.
in behind the scenes. So Keith L. Brown, Mr. Impossible,
Shout out.
we appreciate you. So Kathy and I are in the cohorts together, women of purpose, women of excellence that are moving in purpose, not being distracted by the small stuff, but keeping it moving. So we are honored today to be here. So Kathy, and we're gonna get right on in our little chat, our conversation, because I don't like to say an interview, but that's right. So tell the viewers who Kathy Miller is.
Well, Kathy Miller is on Facebook at Kathy Miller Eden Enterprise. Also, you can find me on Instagram at Eden Enterprise, one word, dot Kathy, Eden Enterprise dot Kathy. And a little bit about who Kathy Miller is. She's a little girl from the south side of Spartanburg that was born and raised in a single parent home with 4 siblings. And and not only that, but I was the 4th of 5. And the reason, when Miss Peoria, when you said Kathy, I said Kitten. That's my nickname. Kitten is my nickname.
Yes.
And so I was extremely blessed to grow up with an amazing mom. Even though she was a single mom, she did her dual role very well. My father died when I was 7 years old. And through different experiences and exposure, God blessed me to become a first generation business owner. Both my husband and I grew up in Spartanburg on the south side, where people would say, what good could come from the south side? But when God is involved, he can do it. And so as a result, I have 2 children, a grandson, and I am passionate
Yes.
about people, and especially the leader that's in them, and making sure that people know without a doubt, it doesn't matter where you start. It doesn't matter your socioeconomic background. It does not matter your gender or your ethnicity, that where you start has nothing to do with where you end up. So I absolutely love people, and I love watching them find their purpose.
Well, you just blessed me, baby, and you said a mouthful. I am so honored to be here at your feet to learn. And as we lead together, we're learning, constantly evolving. So thank you for that. You said a lot. And back to, you said you're a young girl from Spartanburg, South Carolina.
Spartanburg, South Carolina. I'm in the upstate. Probably more people know about Greenville, South Carolina, but I'm about 30 miles away from Greenville, South Carolina.
Okay, cool. Because I'm from Charleston, South Carolina. So, yeah, homegirl from the South Kakalaki, as we say.
That's it.
So, what good can come out of those woods, baby? A whole lot.
Yes, ma'am.
Destiny,
Absolutely.
value. Come on, yes. So, thank you for that. But definitely, and being a mother, that is so important. And so, I'm sure just hearing you, I hear the passion about how your mom was a single mom. Well, my mom was not a single mother, but she ran the household because my dad was always working, and she was the disciplinary in my house. I'm not sure what yours, but in our house, well, she was a single mom, but my mom was the disciplinarian for all 9 of my siblings, and so. I understand a strong woman. I come from a strong woman, so that's why I don't lay down and take things not too easily. So, some people it have a hard time adjusting, but because, as I said, my mama said, they're in your world. Either they adapt or they get gone. That's right. They have a choice. My dad would say they could either accept or they reject who you are. Don't you change. Definitely when it's for the better. You be who you are. So I'm so honored for that. But definitely strong parents makes a difference. And so tell me, well, not me, but me and the viewers, because I'm asking questions that they probably would want to ask in this Q&A session. Where did Eden come from? Eden Enterprise. Tell us a little bit about Eden Enterprise and how you was birthed. How did you birth that?
So I'm gonna just back up just a little bit and give you guys just a little background. I mentioned that I was a first generation business owner. So my background has been in social work and case management. In 2001, I founded a school in my house with just my son, Joshua, who was 3 at the time, and my daughter was 6. I founded a school with Joshua and one other little boy in my home. And over the period of about 6.5 years, the school outgrew my house and we became a private Christian school. The name of that school was the Vineyard of Angels Christian Academy. We went on from '01 for 12 years as a Vineyard of Angels. In 2013, we expanded into a private, fully accredited Christian school, and we serve students from the ages of infants up through third grade. In 2019, I retired 1 month before turning 55. And I retired, and the school at that time served 94 students. We had 20 teachers. The majority of my staff were retired educators. And so when I retired, I had no plans of doing anything but just pursuing public speaking, parenting, because I found myself doing a lot of that in those 18 years.
Right.
Well, the Lord gave me the name Eden Enterprise. And going back to the beginning. And the one thing I failed to tell you was that in 2013, we became Legacy Christian School. So we went from the Vineyard of Angels after 12 years to becoming Legacy Christian School. So Eden Enterprise was taking it all the way back to the beginning. So that's how the name Eden Enterprise came into being. And the whole purpose of Eden Enterprise was to be a full service training. What I realized is that parents and parenting didn't look like it did when you and I grew up.
Absolutely.
I watched it gradually. It didn't even look like what it did when I was raising my children. And I saw the need there. So my focus was going to be training. I was big on leadership because good leadership sinks a ship or it sails the ship. And to be able to provide parenting for families.
Wow. I love that. Just a good parenting. Either you can sink the ship or you can cause it to sail. I mean, repeat that. Repeat that statement, please. Just for those that didn't hear it, because this is powerful. I need you to get those moms that are locked and loaded, stressed out. Miss Kathy Miller has some vital information, powerful information as a parent that could help us. And so we all, have room. We should have room for improvement. There is no, I know it all. No one has.
Right.
So please share, go back. That statement, that was powerful.
That about leadership and the fact that good leadership either sinks a ship or it sails the ship. And regardless of whether we want to accept the role or not, as parents, we are leaders. We are our children's navigators. We teach them how to navigate this world in which we live. And you're very right about the fact that none of us know it all. And the truth of the matter is, as our children grow, when my daughter became a teenager, I had not ever parented a teenager before. And when my son came up behind her 3 years later, I had never parented a male son before, because they're two totally different people. So you're right.
Absolutely. I love that. So that's why I said I'm always a student. I'm always excited.
Yes.
Because I learned a little bit, watching my brothers and my mom parenting and my dad parenting them as far as that on that level as a sister. And now we have two godsons. So that's a different avenue because we too have also two young adult women also. And so now we're expecting the first grandbaby, but that's a girl. So every relationship, it is completely different. So you can't say, oh, well, I know what to do here. Not always, because even in two girls, there's something different. They're different. Yeah. Fingerprints are different. Their footprints are different. So their paths are different. So everything about them is different. So I totally agree. But my hat's off to you. My God. And for 12 years, the total, how many years? You said 20 years of homeschooling?
The school was in existence for 18 years. So basically, I raised my son and daughter, and the school are all 3 years apart. So I basically raised them together. When I retired, the school was 18, my son was 21, and my daughter was 24. So I raised them all together.
Together.
Yes.
Commend you. That is such a commend position that you hold, not held, but you hold, because I'm sure you're still teaching even now. And a lot of times people say, well, some people would take the attitude, well, it's not my kid, or, and it has to do with me. Well, not so. I beg to differ. What's your thought on that? Because I believe that it takes a village. And of course, a lot of parents are not. In agreement, and I'm not going to have anybody pounding on my children either. But the way I grew up in South Carolina, and you probably would as well, agree. As long as they are disciplining in love, you will have nothing out of me. Nothing. If you discipline the way that you would discipline yours, and you see them and you need to check them, then do that. But because of where we are now, and we're still praying things to change and to get better, because a lot of parents, they want to fight you if you say, baby, pull your pants up. Don't walk around with your underwear showing, and coming of you away. You can't say anything to someone else's child. And I get snap and go off on my child when, degrading them, because there's a difference in being, nurturing and loving out of respect than, discipline or versus abuse. And so some people don't get that, but I said, check mine, please, because you can save their life by something that you said. So I am all for that. So
and I absolutely agree. It does take a village. It took a village then, and it takes a village now. Because if we're honest, especially those of us who are on the line that have parented adult children, you know for yourself that there are different times in your children's lives where you couldn't really speak into their lives. They really weren't hearing what you had to say. But that's why you want somebody else with the right motive and with the right spirit. The other part of it is, it's so important for us to do things out of love and not from a place of chastisement. And it's funny that you say that, because I watched the dress codes change, even at the school, where parents wanted to come in their pajamas and bonnets and bedroom shoes. And that was absolutely no, ma'am. And for the dads that wanted to come in their wife beaters and their pants sagging, no, sir.
No, sir.
Absolutely no, sir. Now, if you have time to change, or you have a shirt in the car, you're welcome to come in. But I think that what we have to do is to be mindful that it's seasoned with love. Absolutely. And when people know where you're coming from, a lot of times when they know that you care, my mom used to tell us all the time. She said, people don't care how much you know. They want to know how much you care.
That's right.
And when it comes from a place of love, I think that it really does make a difference, even if it's a stranger.
That's right. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, my baby said to me the other day, I got on to my godson about doing something, and it wasn't so much with him, it was his attitude. And I said, 9 years old. I said, and you will not roll your eyes and look at me, and I get all in love, say what I mean to me, what I say. He said, Mommy, oh my God, he was just playing. I said, that's not playing. We're going to in the bud now. I said, because either we do it now, or he's going to flip the script, and then he'll be thinking he's running it by the time he's 12 or 13 years old, if not sooner. I said, so no, Gma, don't play like that. You don't get up and whoop. And so she was just saying, oh, well, I'm not going to spank my baby. I said, well, I tell you what, my baby, as much as I love her, she's not here yet. I said, here's the deal. You will not bring her to my house if she can't be disciplined. I said, and you can write everything on that, put it on the line. Because I mean what I said. There is nothing too cute or too good that I can't discipline. No. I'm sorry about that.
Yeah, that's okay. Well,
there's discipline in love, not abuse. I said, you've got to understand the difference. I said, you turned out fine, so did your sister. Did you get your tail spanked at times? Yes, if it's necessary. But then I would pull you aside and let you know why I was disciplining you the way I had to discipline you. And it is not to happen again, because if it happens again, then this is what mommy will do until you understand this is not the right thing or the right way. And so I wouldn't just spank, and I believe the popping on the backside. I said, but then I tell them back and go back to what you were taught in the word of
Yes.
God. So if you
Mm-hmm.
spoil the child, I said, now you are spoiled in love, but not when it came to discipline, baby. We're not doing that. So she,
Mm-mm.
oh Lord, so she kind of looked off or whatever. You'll be all right. So you might as well get ready.
And it's so important for us to be able to set the standard and the expectations, because those are both transferable skills. If we let our children become lawless and be able to do whatever it is they want to do, we're setting them up for a world that has parameters. There are rules. You have to be able to stop at the stop sign. When the light is red, you stop at the red light. You pay your taxes. And to me, if as parents, there's a level of being intentional that we have to do. You're able to train children developmentally based on where they are for where you're taking them. They're not going to always be 3 or 5. And if it's not cute at 3, it's not going to be cute at 5. And it's not going to be cute at 10. And the other thing that we have to remember too, as parents, is that when I think about parents that just let their children do whatever, they don't put any boundaries, they don't try to teach them transferable respect and guidance and structure. That's the same as an individual getting a cat as a pet. And you say, I'm going to keep this cat as a house pet. So I'm going to go ahead and have him declawed. And then some years later, you decide, you know what? I'm tired of having a cat in the house. I'm just going to let him be an outside cat. Well, guess what the problem is? The problem is that cat is not prepared because you declawed him. So he can't even survive in the environment that you're placing him in. And that's the same thing that parents do to children when they do not set the standards and the expectations and the guidelines. Not if you behave, I'm going to buy you this. No, that's the expectation. Because when you go on that job, if you don't behave, you won't have a job. And so we have to remember that we are parenting our children not only for where they are, but the fact that they're not going to always be that age, and that they are continuing to grow. And you want to teach them at the ground level foundational skills that transfer and grow as they become adults.
Now that is fact. That is fact. So definitely, totally agree. Now, talk to us a little bit about Trailblazer Academy.
Trailblazers Academy.
Yeah, Trailblazers Academy. Let's chat about that, because
so Trailblazers Academy is very near and dear to my heart. I mentioned that my husband and I grew up on the south side of Spartanburg, both in single parent homes. And Trailblazers Academy we work with middle school students, and the objective is leadership and entrepreneurship. The children that we serve are middle school children that live in the inner city on the south side. And I'm going to share a story with you that really resonates and puts Trailblazers Academy into perspective. By being in a single parent home, my mom worked year round. We had a neighbor, and her name was Miss George. Miss George was a school teacher, and she lived 2 houses down. So my brother Don and I would be home together during the summer. And what Miss George did, because she didn't work, she would take Don and I on trips. She would take us to different places every day. It seemed like we went on a different field trip. A lot of times we were the only people there that looked like us. She would pack a lunch. She was the first person that ever took us to the beach. We had never, ever seen the beach before. And it just always impacted my life because every experience pushed out the walls of the world in which I lived. And so now, with being an adult and having been blessed to raise children, become a first generation business owner, I felt that it was not just a do good project, but that there was a sense of responsibility that I had to go back to my neighborhood and to the youth that lived there and provide those experiences for them and to teach them the importance of leadership and being empathetic and also having integrity and walking upright, and know that when you have a seat at the table, you don't sit at the table like it's all about me. You sit at the table for the people that may never ever make it to the table, and you make decisions for people who will never ever make it to the table. I don't care who stroke you, how they stroke you and try to make you feel like you're the one. Oh no, sweetie. When you see me, I represent many. You see one, but I represent many. And so that is what Trailblazers Academy embarks on doing. And the other thing, the other component of that leadership is entrepreneurship, because economic empowerment is huge. And the millennials that we have, yeah, I mean, we talk about how they have crazy, but I'm telling you what's real talk. Those millennials are going to produce the largest group of entrepreneurs that this country has ever seen. And I want them to have the financial literacy and to understand what entrepreneurship looks like. It's hard work, baby. It's more than grinding. You have to get in there with a plan and you have to work that plan. And so it has just been like, that is my newest baby that I have birthed, which is Trailblazers Academy. And I just launched our 2-week summer camp this week, and it has been absolutely amazing. And we will also have Saturday Academy, so that there's a continuation, that we're continuing to build the relationship and establish that rapport. So like you said, it won't be where people can't speak into their lives, but to train them and to prepare them to be open and to allow people to pour into their lives, so that ultimately I stand on the shoulders of people who have poured into me and gone on before me. Now I'm in a position where they can stand on my shoulders, and I'm positioning them to be able to have shoulders strong enough for someone else to stand on their shoulders.
That's what it's about. Woo, girl. I'm talking, you dropping all sorts of nuggets. Ladies, I need you to make sure that you share this live, share the episode. And if you no longer see that red light, we're not live anymore, be sure to share the replay. Let's go back YouTube live and YouTube and share it from there, or you can share it from the Facebook page. And also Kathy Miller will also have a link to be able to share with her followers and her fans and her friends. Vital information like this, it is free. You can't go anywhere and get it just for free, because now everything is a conference, everything is a workshop, everything you got to drop a dime on, which I'm not mad about it, because we're women of influence and entrepreneurs, and so definitely we have to be compensated. But when it's free, why not take it? Why not accept it? Free, right. But this is a blessing, because you have so many nuggets that you've dropped, and I'm looking here because I don't want to miss anything. So if there are maybe two, I'll say, give me three nuggets that you could leave with a mom that might be struggling with going back to virtual learning. I mean, in-person learning versus virtual learning, because right now we're making the shift. So the shift is now in place. So what would be a couple of things that you could, drop on them?
One of the things that I would do, that I would like to suggest for parents to start doing is to start talking to your children about the fact that they're going to make that transition back, about the basic things about social distancing, washing your hands, not eating after other people, which, is just good practice. But little kids, they little germ pools and they have their friends. So to make sure that you talk to them about having healthy practices. Also, the children have watched a lot of stuff on TV. They have watched it play out with COVID and all of that. Help to reassure them about the fact that they will be okay, so that they're not going back in with a heightened level of anxiety. That would be number 2. And 3, the most important is begin your routine. Go ahead in the month of July and start trying to get them back, because my grandson has been out of school since March of 2020 in person, and he's going back in August, just like I'm sure a lot of other children are. So they're going to need to start getting their routines, getting enough sleep at night, just little bit by little bit, start scaling back those bedtimes and creating those routines, because routines create safety and security for kids. And we think that they can just fly by the seat of their pants. That's because we drag them by the seat of their pants, but it doesn't put them in a good social emotional place. But if you can talk to them and just start explaining to them what's going to happen, so that they're preparing and have an opportunity to ask questions, I think that those 3 things would be huge. And to recap those, talk about safety, health and safety practices, talk about COVID in terms of the vaccine being out there and more people having it, and most importantly, start getting them ready for their back to school routine, so that they can go to school ready to learn.
I totally agree. I totally agree, because I asked my godson the other day, I said, "Are you ready to go back to school?" And he said, "No, because I don't want to get sick." And I said, "Well, you won't get sick." I said, "But we're going to need to take extra precaution." He said, "Well, what's precaution?" I said, "Taking extra safety measures." I said, "So you're going to go back, but back exactly the way what you're used to." So the normal is no longer the new normal. And he said, "A new normal." So he was picking you, but he caught it. He said, "A new normal." I said, "A new normal." I said, "So yes, you washed your hands before, but you're going to wash it even a little bit more. You won't be up in little Johnny's face, you and Johnny maybe sharing little snacks or whatever that could into the same potato chip bag." And I said, things like that. So we don't want to do that anymore, because we're trying, we don't want to be sick.
Right.
We don't. So we just, had a long conversation with him over last weekend when we were traveling, and just letting him know there's a new normal. And so important, as you said, just reassuring them, and they have to just kind of, follow the new guidelines, because it is I'm sure going to be a big transition when they're used to doing what they want to do, and it's still going to be hard. And I know it has to be difficult for teachers trying to monitor so many children. So with private schools, during the pandemic, how many children do you have would you have in a classroom at one time?
Well, I was extremely blessed that I retired in August of 2019. So I didn't even live through the COVID era, and that was such a blessing.
So your numbers before, what was your numbers before you retire per class? How small?
So basically, with our classrooms, our preschool classrooms, we met the DSS guidelines. So it was broken down by the age. But in 5K through 3rd grade, our classroom sizes weren't larger than 10 students, because we wanted them to be able to have the one-on-one attention. And you mentioned something that I would like to just briefly reiterate on. When we grew up, parents talked a lot about "because I said so" or "just do it." I want to encourage any parent, grandparent, aunt, uncle, whomever may see this now or in the replay, be sure to take time to talk to your children Explain things to them. Guys, we are their navigators. We are the ones who teach them how to navigate the world around them. If we want them to have critical thinking skills and conversational skills, we are going to have to implement that by just having conversations with them. Ask them what they're thinking about. You would be amazed at the things that they think about, and encourage their thought process and their creativity and their innovation. And just be very, very sure to help foster the social emotional. I'm not a proponent of just give them a hug and a juice box about everything. Because you give them a hug and a juice box about everything, and they'll be 50 years old living in your basement.
You better
We
say
want to produce civic-minded leaders and children who are able to process and think through, and stop saying to boys, boys don't cry, don't you cry. We all have emotions, and our emotions are to be, we have to teach them how to process. And if people yell and scream and you never take the time to sit down and talk, even when they misbehave, ask them what do they think their consequences should be.
That's right.
Give them a voice. We can't expect that all of a sudden they're going to have a voice. What they going to think?
That's right.
Who has helped them to frame their thoughts? And one of the things that we have to be very careful about that is that we don't tell them what to think, but we help them to learn how to think. We give them the information. And as parents, we teach our children two things: how to think and how to behave.
That's right.
We teach them how to think and how to behave. And you teach them how to think by giving them the information and helping them to process it and do a little shifting and maneuvering when you need to. And we teach them how to behave, not through manipulation, but because that is the standard. Because I'm telling you, kicking and screaming at 3, how many of you, by a show of hands, just don't put them up, have been in meetings with adults and they have a full-blown tantrum and you be like, really? You're going to do that right here in the middle of the staff meeting because it didn't go like you. That's because they have not learned how to process through emotions and how to be able.
Are we freezing?
We did for a moment.
Okay. Go ahead. I'm not sure what's happening.
But I was just saying that we teach children how to think and how to behave. And I just gave the example of coworkers in their 30s and 40s that have full-blown attitudes and temper tantrums in a meeting because something did not go their way. But those are the types of things that I'm talking about when you're talking back and forth to your children and helping them process through their emotions and teaching them how to think independently. Because if we tell them everything, what's going to happen that one time that we're not with them?
You got that right.
Then somebody else is going to tell them. And one last thing, please, parents, aunts, uncles,
yes,
invest in your children and not on them. Invest in them and not on them.
That's right.
The same $150, $200 you spend on a pair of tennis shoes would pay for a summer camp. You'll never know if that kid was interested in science and has an idea about science if you don't put them in some different camps. Don't invest your money on what they have on. Invest in them.
That's right.
Also,
exposure. Yes.
You have to expose them. Exposure is the only thing that changes the game. Because if you can see it, you can achieve it, and you can do it. The other thing is stop when you're it's fine Everybody is like, oh, you're so cute. Oh, your ponytails. Oh my gosh. Look at her dress. Look at him with that good curly hair. How about instead of focusing on them, you focus on the fact that they were kind, that they were sharing other qualities and traits. Because guess what? Susie isn't going to have ponytails at 13. So are you teaching her that she needs all of that outward affirmation and she'll do whatever it takes to get it?
My Lord.
So invest in your children and not on them, and focus on their qualities and attributes as opposed to their exterior.
Absolutely. Wow. The meat, the nuggets, Queen. When I say you've dropped it, you've dropped it. And something you said, because that was a part, that was the theme, saluting amazing fathers in the month of June on Table Talk. And my question to every father, every gentleman that I had on the platform every Thursday, what is your thought on do men cry? And men, not just men, but boys, because I heard it so many times. And my dad would say, I'm a grown man, and yes, I cry. I'm human. I have feelings. And so, yes, I have to process what I'm going through just like anybody else. Yes, I'm a man, but yeah, tears are real. My pain is valid. My feelings are valid.
They're valid.
All talked about that, and that was, I mean, it just went from that conversation on. But you said it again here in the month of July about how important it is, because they would say, oh, you know, dry that boy, get over it. You're a boy, you're not a girl. Stop crying, stop whining. Well, he has feelings. He's hurting. And so if you're not able to tell me, you know, what are you thinking after you were disciplined or whatever?
Exactly.
How did you feel, or when this happened, or when they said this to you, what were your feelings, or what were you thinking after that? Well, I thought, you know, that I was doing it right, but I didn't know. But she's screaming, so that's when I knew. But that's, again, that's not the way to tell them they're doing it wrong, yelling and cussing and fussing them out, or punching them like a man, you know, in their back or whatever. Because again, that's not discipline. So we talked about what is important. And one thing I wanted to ask you, because I'm not an educator as far as teaching, what is your thoughts or opinion on medication when they may need talking to them always? And some kids may need medication, or the Ritalin, or melatonin, or whatever, to kind of help them. I'm not sure, but what's your thought on that?
I think that children are over medicated, and I think that that's the answer. That's the answers that doctors give. But I think if we go back to the basics of parenting, and just think about it, when we were growing up, it wasn't that. ADHD and all of that. Sometimes there is some validity, but I personally promote a more holistic approach. And if you do have to medicate, very, 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 very minimal, because what you're doing is creating a whole nother dependency.
Totally agree.
But oftentimes with ADHD and children, just simply think about everything in their world moves so fast. This is a microwave generation. There needs to be some time when the TV is turned off. The electronics need to be limited. They need to have time to concentrate with puzzles or blocks and listening to some soft music. Some of that is a result of overstimulated environments. Am I saying that ADHD is not real? Absolutely not. If I have self-diagnosed myself with ADHD because my mind moves a mile a minute, and I self-medicate with coffee. That's exactly how I self-medicate. Okay. But I feel like that it's just the go-to, and that a lot of times there are some other strategies that can be used to start taking some of the stimulation away in environments. Also, some of the social emotional acting out, aggression, and all of that could be taken care of through some conversation, processing through emotions and feelings, more than just happy, sad, and mad. There are more emotions than that, and being able to work through those.
Okay, I agree. So yeah, you're in that lane, that vein is what I'm saying. You articulated it way better than I could, but that's how I feel, because absolutely not, as far as the medication. And so just human conversation, just let's just talk. Sometimes they just want you to listen. When you're not listening, they act out.
And we have got to get back to a point. We were created for relationship. And we have got to listen. Children spell love Time. That's how they spell love. Quality time. Not with phones, not with technology, just going back to walking through the park, a picnic lunch. And again, we're the navigators. We're the ones that are responsible for teaching them about the world in which they live. And one thing that COVID taught was getting back to what's important. And I don't want to see us get so quick to jump back on the rat's wheel and start back in that circular motion, but actually appreciate the break and utilize the break and make sure that we are relational and that we talk to our children and not at them.
Wow. That is powerful. Well, Kathy Miller, girlfriend, have really blessed my soul today. Thank you so much. This has been amazing. Please give your social media handles once again for me before we end this episode. That would be helpful so that they can follow you and know where to find you when reaching out for some help, because you have a lot of good, powerful information. And I speak blessings upon your ministry and your life and everything that you put your hands to. So please share your social media for me.
Thank you very much. My social media, it's been a pleasure to be a part as well on today. And my social media on Facebook is Kathy Miller with a K at Eden Enterprise. And my Instagram is EdenEnterprise.Kathy. And also, just a quick, Parenting on Purpose is also a program that I do, and a Mom's Time Out. So I absolutely have something, a toolbox for parents when it comes to parenting on purpose, because that's what we have to do for this next generation.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, this has been amazing. I'm going to have a couple of clips that I'm going to send over to you. Okay. Because again, with these beautiful eyes of mine, I'm not the tech savvy to do it in the midst of, but I will get them sent over to you. But this has been truly an honor and a blessing. And so thank you once again. And so viewers, thank you so much. I am Arthur Piera Collins, again, the Diva with the Destiny with LLC, and so fired up always to have a beautiful woman of excellence on the platform, sharing, impacting, inspiring, and igniting the power that works within inside of us. So God has called you to destiny. I suggest you get moving. Have a great Thursday, Table Talk. We'll be back here next week, same time, same place. Thank you so much. Love you, Kathy.
Love you.
Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
And if you feel it down, come in. The enemy just won't win. So God is giving you vision, and in the end, you shall win. Table Talk with the Diva. Why? Join in, it might free up. Hey, hey. And if you feel it down, come in. The enemy shall won't win. But God is giving you vision, and in the end, you shall win. Hey. Good night, good night, good night.
Good night.